When it comes to people telling people, this is about as good as it gets. Sean Zabinski recently ran the Chicago Marathon. A few weeks later, he was about to run the New York Marathon when his buddy Jeff Kelmer told him about Unequal.
Jeff talked about the insoles and what their claim to fame is, and absorbing shock up to 80% and things like that. As a marathon runner, if you could find something of that capacity, then you're absolutely going to try it.
And I said if he wanted to try them out, I would take him out of my shoes because we have the same shoe size.
After Chicago, I didn't wear them and my feet were destroyed.
The next thing you know, Sean was borrowing Jeff's Unequal insoles the day of the New York Marathon.
And he called me the next day and said,
no blisters, no break-in period. I actually slipped them right in the morning of the marathon.
He finished it, he said, with greater ease.
Completed the race without any problems.
Today, just 2 weeks after the New York Marathon, here's Sean about to run the Philadelphia Marathon.
If you were to ask me after Chicago that I would do 2 more marathons within the month of November, I would have said you're crazy. But after wearing the insoles of Unequal, it's given me the confidence to continue my quest in running these marathons. We'll see how it goes.
2, 1.
Later in the morning, Sean was across the finish line and cooling down after a successful run.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
You did it.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of people will probably be cramping here at the finish line. None of those residual effects here.
I asked him what his pace was.
6:30 minute, yeah.
Is that better than normal?
Absolutely. Usually it's an 8-minute mile. We'll definitely give some credit to Unequal here. The insoles absolutely did help, and I had no pain in my lower body, and my feet felt great.
30 seconds!
I've now run several times using the Unequal insoles. I've run 12, 15, 17, and 19-mile runs, which are all training runs for an upcoming 50-mile ultra marathon. You know, if you're running more than 10 miles, you know, your legs are going to get fatigued at some point. And the thing that I noticed was like, wow, I'm just flying through. I remember the first time I did it, I was like, what, did I set my clock right? I was looking at it, I go, well, no, this is right. My normal 10-minute training pace turned into a 9-minute per mile pace, and I put out absolutely no more effort. But hey, I can live with that. That's huge for anyone who is into running.
The blocks represent our bodies. The hammers deliver crushing impact shock, much more than you'll ever experience while walking or running. Each block is protected by a type of insole. Simple question. As you watch this, which insole technology would you rather have in your shoes protecting you from chronic impact shock?
If you have foot pain, you'll do anything to get rid of it.
My knees were hurting, my heels were hurting, and the bottom of my feet, which mostly after every match you have to ice.
Alex Bogomolov is an up-and-coming tennis professional on the ATP World Tour, ranked number 34 at the start of 2012. Just a few short months before that, at the French Open, he was about to call it quits because his feet were killing him. But his doctor, Steve Diamond, had a recommendation.
I said, well, I started using insoles from Unequal. And I talked to him about that, and he said, can you get me some? Called Unequal Technologies, explained where I was going and who I am. Got insoles, went to Paris, gave them to Alex. He went out to practice that afternoon.
I have no pain all of a sudden. It was all surreal to me.
And he's suddenly now playing at competitive world-class tennis, and it showed in his rankings.
The ranking went from 100 in the world at the French to number 70 after Wimbledon, after I got to third round, to number 40 after I got to third round of the US Open, to number 34 after I got to the semifinals of St. Petersburg in Russia. All I do is stretch out before the match, and afterwards I'm pain-free. I don't have to go in and ice my knees and ice my heels and ice my ankles. I don't have the necessity to go to the trainer's room to fix something because there's nothing wrong.
Remember the devastating flurry of tornadoes that recently tore through northern Alabama? Hundreds lost their lives. The destruction in some neighborhoods was simply not to be believed. To add insult to injury, hundreds of people suffered foot puncture wounds as they searched through the rubble of what was left of their homes. Dr. Gary Bullock personally treated dozens of those puncture wounds and reached out to Unequal Technologies for help.
Our hospital opened a walk-in clinic for any kind of injuries. We were noticing that every second, every third person coming in was coming in and stepping on a nail. Yeah. And that night, a contractor friend of mine and I were talking about, seems like somebody would have invented Kevlar insoles.
Right.
Googled it, found this company up in Pennsylvania that's doing that,
Right.
called them, and they said, hey, we'll come down there with a couple hundred insoles, just give them away.
That's a death zone out there with all the...
I know, it's insane.
We were really glad to hear that you came here. It was in our briefing this morning.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. This is a real godsend.
I brought some old shoes, and I was worried about thinking about nails, and you all actually have metal Kevlar something. I've never seen anything like it. It makes sense to have them, but in fact, I even told our folks in Gadsden that we needed to go on that website, unequal.com, in case we ever need this.
I feel safe walking around where all these nails are and the destruction that we've got right here. So really appreciate them.
It does give me confidence that I can walk around in this mess, not get injured. Great support in the shoe.
Right here, I stepped on a piece of metal that had 2 nails in it, went right up through my foot, stuck right on there. Went right up through there, hit that metal, didn't feel a thing inside. Thank you.
Saved you a trip to the hospital, didn't
It sure did. Bless your heart for having them here. Thank you for coming all that way. It's awesome.
There's going to be floods, tornadoes, hurricanes. They're going to happen the rest of our lives, and if we're aware and prepare for the next time, then we intervene and we make progress, and the next disaster won't be as bad. You know what's in those, right?
No, I don't.
Kevlar. It's that body armor the Army uses, so good.
I thought there was a big difference between no insoles to Dr. Scholl's. From Dr. Scholl's to these is like
twice the gap.
Yeah, it's like I mean it's the
like
gap is huge.
Nothing
It's
to
just
Dr. Scholl's and then Dr. Scholl's to here.
It's amazing. It's just
that much further.
You know, I'm comfortable all day long.
When you land on a jump on ice, you can just feel the shock through your whole legs. It stings your heels. With these foot pads in, you don't feel that shock at all.
I'd pay good money for anything that's going to give me one more run in a day. Unequal gives me, 4 more hours in a day. Yeah, it really does.
Going over rough snow, the chatter on the edge, like it's just shaking. I don't feel that with the footbeds in there.
And now finally, you can really feel the deadening. You can feel the difference with this stuff.
And it keeps me on the slope longer than I would be. It helps us out, I jump longer because of Unequal.
Vibratory stress, known as chronic impact shock, or CIS. It's a force up to 5 times your weight that radiates through your body with every step, heel strike, or jump.
That shock actually comes up through the feet, through the legs, and up into your spinal area.
And up until now, it's been largely ignored by the foot care industry.
This is the shock that the body cannot handle.
Really does bang down those joints, cause inflammation, cause discomfort
to the whole skeletal and muscular system of the body.
Unequal footbeds have been proven to block that shock up to an amazing 80%. Dr. Paul Marchetto is a board-certified orthopedic surgeon with the Rothman Institute. He says CIS is a big problem.
Chronic impact shock could lead to premature aging. The long-term wear of vibratory shock tends to wear you out.
Dr. Marchetto has done his research on unequal insoles.
This technology, it does take away shock. We've proven it. We've seen it in lab tests.
Some of those tests were conducted at Villanova University School of Mechanical Engineering by an expert in vibratory physics.
We proved conclusively that it would reduce vibration anywhere from 60 to 80%, both in the length of time that the vibration persists, as well as the range of frequencies where the human body would feel it the most.
And why does Unequal work so well?
You go back to the base, take some of the vibration out, put something in that you can customize yourself, molding to your feet, not that flat insert that is in so many shoes, but curves to the arch, that cups the heel, that mends to the metatarsal area, the forefoot, to align their axial skeleton in a more upright position.